Hello everyone, welcome back to Economics Time. In part 6, we are going to continue to calculate nominal GDP and real GDP. At the end of last part, we have already calculated nominal GDP. We find out that since nominal GDP uses the current year's price to measure the value of the final goods and services, because of that, the nominal GDP value has been affected by the changes of the price. So in our example, this GDP value have been inflated because the amount of a product is the same, but because the price increase, GDP increase. So to fix this problem, we have a new concept called real GDP. The idea of a real GDP is we try to fix the price. So we're going to select one of these price and then fix it and use it to measure all different years of quantity. So that is where the base year comes from. So you can choose any year because base year is artificial. So in my example, I'm going to choose year 2000 as our base year. This means no matter which year's GDP you want to measure, you have to use base year's price. For example, if year 2000 is our base year, then the price will be fixed at $15 for pizza, $40 for jacket. Okay, so let's take a look at this real GDP. So to find out what real GDP of 1999 is, we need to use the base year's price, which is $15, multiplied by the 2 million. 2 million is the amount of pizza year 99 produced. For the jacket, we use the base year's price multiplied by this 1 million, which is year 99's jacket. So the real GDP for 99 is 70 million. Okay, let's work out for year 2000. For year 2000, we use the base year's price, which is 15, multiplied by year 2000's amount of pizza, which is 2 million. So that's why this is 2 million, plus also base year's price of jacket, multiplied by this 1 million. It is the year 2000's jacket. So the result is 70 million. For year 2001, again, we use base year's price multiplied by year 2001's pizza, which is 3 million. And then for the jacket, base year's price multiplied by the amount of jacket, 2 million. And that is how we get 125 million. Now let's see if real GDP makes more sense. Okay, 70 million for year 99 and year 2000. Well, we see that pizza production is the same amount and jacket production is the same amount. So real GDP is the same amount. Yeah, that's good, right? It makes sense. Now, 2000 to 2001, amount of pizza increase, amount of jacket also increase. So we also see its increase. Well, is the value being inflated? Actually, the answer is no, because we keep the prices constant at the base year's price. So we know that if real GDP change, increase or decrease, it has to be the quantity change because the value, the price has been fixed. So to fill in this blank, if nominal GDP increases, it may be caused by what? Caused by price, right? Can it caused by quantity? Yes, right? It can be caused by quantity too. Or what? Or both. Both price and quantity increase, it can also affect nominal GDP. So for nominal GDP to change, we really don't know which one caused the change. But if real GDP increases, it can be caused only by what? By the quantity, because the price have been fixed, right? So only the quantity change can cause real GDP to increase. Because of that, when we calculate economic growth rate, we use real GDP to calculate the economic growth rate. Nominal GDP includes the fluctuation of prices, which may not be able to reflect people's well-being. So that's why we use real GDP. N stands for the particular year. So we use this year's GDP minus previous year's real GDP divided by previous year's real GDP in a percentage. That is the economic growth rate. So economic growth rate is in fact the percent change in real GDP. Okay, so we can calculate the economic growth rate for year 2000 here. So in our table, year 2000's real GDP is 70 million, and then year 1999's real GDP is 70 million. Year 1999's real GDP is 70 million, multiplied by 100% equals 0%. That makes sense, right? Because in this hypothetical economy, they didn't produce any more pizza and no more jacket compared 2000 to 99. So because of that, their economic growth rate is 0%. Okay, let's calculate year 2001. The economic growth rate for year 2000 is 2001. 2001's real GDP is 125 million, and then minus previous year, that is year 2000. 2000's real GDP is 70 million divided by previous year, which is 2000. So we got 78.6. So that is how to calculate economic growth rate. So this is the official quarterly percent change in real GDP, which we call a economic growth rate. So you can see that quarterly our growth rate is somewhere around 2 to 3%, except the first quarter of 2020, it is negative 5%. So I was mentioning that we are heading into a recession. Yeah, we are in a recession as the real GDP start going down. And this is the yearly GDP. Usually we use yearly GDP to describe an economy. So you can see that our real GDP growth rate is around about 2%, sometimes almost to 3%, but around 2%-ish. Okay. The next concept is called GDP Deflator. It is a measure of the price level. Nowadays, the Bureau of Economic Analysis call GDP Deflator as GDP Price Index. Yeah, I actually like the new name more, but majority of the economics world still call it GDP Deflator. We have been using GDP Deflator to measure the price level for a long time. So how do we measure the price level using the GDP? So because nominal GDP, if you remember, it contains the ups and downs of the price. Real GDP do not allow the price level to goes in, ups and downs. So because of that, we try to find out the ratio between the two and use that as a index to indicate the GDP price level. So the GDP deflator for year 99 equals to the nominal GDP for year 99, which is 50 million. So 50 million divided by year 99's real GDP, and that is 70 million divided by 70 million multiplied by 100. When you develop an index, usually you just multiply by 100. It is not a percentage, it's just like an index. Okay, so that equals to 71. Can you do the rest of them? Pause the video and then work it out and then see if your answer is correct or not. Okay? Very good. Pause. All right. Is this what you get? Very good. So real divided by, nominal. Nominal divided by real times 100. That is going to be the GDP deflator. You can see that because we select year 2000 as the base year, so base years is a benchmark. It always equals to 100. The index by itself, you take a look at it, it doesn't tell you a lot. But if you compare it, then it tells you a lot. For example, we know that the price level had increased from 71 to 100 between 99 to year 2000, and then it continued to increase to 108 between 2000 to 2001. So you know that there is a inflation going on. Okay. Let's see. Next is GDP around the world. Do you happen to know which top 10 country that produce the highest GDP in the world? Can you write down a few countries' name on your notebook right now, and then find out if you know, if you have good knowledge about which country ranks top 10. Okay. So I use the World Bank's rank. There are many places that rank GDP, and I use the World Bank data. And so they only updated to 2018. They said that United States is 17 trillion, but our own calculation is 19 trillion for 2019. So the method calculation is slightly different. But the rank is pretty much match with what the amount of final goods and services produced in these countries. So the top 10 rank is United States, China, Japan, Germany, France, United Kingdom, India, Brazil, Italy, Canada, and then Russian is there too. Okay. Next, let's take a look at GDP per capita rank. GDP per capita is per person. That is, after you produce the huge GDP pie, how big is the slice of the GDP that each person can consume, okay, or can enjoy the goods and services being produced. So let's take a look. I am using the World Bank data again. And then here are the top 10 countries. So, do you know? Okay, Switzerland, Norway, I know a few. Iceland, I feel Qatar. United States is no longer number 1, it's down here. And because China has a huge population, once it's being shared by everyone, you can see that the list is really low. US is 60 something thousand. For China, it has only 9,000. All right. So in the lecture notes, I have this activity for you to do. It's going to calculate the nominal GDP, real GDP, and all of the concepts that we have covered. Remember, 2015 will be used as a base year when you calculate real GDP. Okay, so I'm going to create a bonus, Chapter 5, nominal versus real GDP. Question there will be similar to this worksheet. Okay, all right, that's all for Chapter 5. Good job, everybody. Bye.